I'm a product of Visakha Vidyalaya, as I think the introduction said. I did mathematics for my A-levels and actually got selected to university. But by the time I was called to the university, I had already done several parts of CIMA because that was the trend at that point. And I wanted an accounting examination to be through. So I decided not to really go into university. I completed my CIMA, I started work, and thereafter I went on to do my master's as well at PIM. So I've got about 26 years of experience behind me, and I'm into the 27th year of my career. I started work when I was 21 years, so you can do the math and get my age, I'm sure, right? Then there onwards, I have actually done operations. I've been in finance. I've done supply chain. I've been in marketing before. I think I was put into a CEO role at Brandix in one of the startup companies. So I think you heard a lot on that company. That was the best part of my career, because of the 26 years, I actually spent 14 years, close to 14 years, growing that company from zero to what it is today. And I'm quite proud of what we've achieved there. Very humble beginnings. We didn't have customers, so incubated a lot of customers. We set up operations in several parts of the country. We actually went into overseas ventures like India and set up operations on in a place that no industry has been before. I have actually also led a few teams, high performance teams as well in that company. So I've seen a lot of people grow in their professional life. I've actually seen a lot of customers coming to Brandix, and that has been a huge privilege for me to really get on with my career before I went into the board. So I just wanted to say that part of me. And personally, I'm married. I have 2 kids. Although I say kids, my daughter is now 18 plus years old, and my son is 13 plus. So like any mother, right, I don't want to say they're 19 and 14 because there are a few more months to go. But I don't want them to grow older, right? So being 18 plus and 13 plus in my mind is something that I would cherish on my own. So that's about my personal life. Now, that is what would go into a written profile of mine, okay? But honestly, I just want you to know me a bit more. I was a bit rebellious those days, now a bit subdued, but in a good way, right? I wanted to do bold things. I like doing big, bold projects. I love being around people. I love working independently to get into unique solutions. I don't like doing common things. I really love doing, unique things, uncommon things differently. And I believe that's what has made me who I am today. So that's a bit about me. Now, why I wanted to say this is for 2 reasons. One, I think it sets the platform for me to really talk about today's topic of becoming a professional, right? The second reason is I know all of you are waiting to unleash your talents, unleash your career, and then get on to the professional world. So if I can help you in any way, I think I'll gladly extend my hand. And that is exactly why I thought I'll give a bit of a background about myself. In all your minds, I'm sure, right? I'm sure that there are several questions that are there. The first question could be, can I become a professional? The second question could be, I'm just guessing, okay? The second question could be, can anyone become a professional? What does it take to become a professional? What do you really have to do to become a professional? My answer to all of that is, let's really not complicate things. Okay, let's keep it simple, one day at a time, because professionalism is not something that you can achieve, that we can achieve in a day or a month or a year. We have to know that. Okay, professionalism is a journey. You have to move in life to achieve that. Those who think that you can be a professional in 1 or 2 years, they're highly mistaken. So that's the first thing I wanted you to know. Second one is becoming a professional. I'll answer one question that you might be having in your head of, can I become a professional? Yes, of course you can. I'm saying that very confidently because of one reason. Because becoming a professional is all in your hands. It's up to you. It's what you do to become what you want to be, right? So if you want to become a professional, it's up to you to do what you have to do. Very simple. Simple, but not easy. Not easy because becoming a professional and remaining a professional are two different things. You need consistency. Okay, so in my experience, becoming a professional is about knowing, really knowing what you have to do, being really good at what you have to do or what you want to do. It's about carrying yourself well. Okay, it's about living your ethical standards. So that's simply professionalism. And for you to do that, it's your responsibility. So I'll just talk about professionalism through a framework. Okay, this is something that I created. I don't go by a lot of theory, but if you look at becoming a professional, in my mind, has three stages. One is when you enter into your career, when you enter your job as a fresher. What is it that is expected of you as a professional? First of all, you have to be seen as as a hardworking individual, okay, as a potential individual. Now, I said it is in your hands. What should you do? You have to be able to do everything possible, to observe, to listen, to really complete the task that is given to you, to go a bit beyond that, to really show your passion to complete something, to show your drive to really go beyond that. I think that's all. Very simple, right? Do your work well, show your enthusiasm genuinely. I'm not saying put on anything, right? And you have to show that you're a great team player. I think that's it. Just be natural, be authentic, right? Bring your personal traits out. So that's your first step. Now, like I said, for you to do that, two things. One is you have to be able to show your personal traits. The second one is you have to belong to an organization that is professional, because it's very difficult otherwise for you to really portray what you can really do, because the opportunities have to be given. And a professional organization will always give you opportunities. So that's the first phase in my books. The second phase is now your bosses, your superiors are beginning to recognize you, and they will give you enough exposure. They will tell you, go there, do this, right? You take over this function, you take over this category, right? They will do a lot of things with you, experimentation. My view is you should just give in. You trust your superiors, you trust your bosses. It's your judgment to be in that organization and to give yourself to those superiors, and then they will take you into that place that you want to be. So that's the second phase. That's where you portray your skills in teaching, training people, right? Grooming, empowering, teaching them everything that you know to make them better than you. So that's the second phase that I see. Third phase is when you really reach, the peak of your career. You're basically running a big organization or extremely big function where you set a culture, right? You really set a culture of performance, or you pioneer things, and you lead the way for several people. So that's when you really get a whole organization behind you. And that's probably the last phase of becoming a professional. So what do you really, I mean, when you look at these three phases, what do you really need to become a professional? It's really bringing out the best in you, being in an organization or in a place where you really know that you can portray this, right? And really living your ethical standards. So I just want to give you one or two examples here, because I don't really want to give a lot of theory. Now, as you know, I was a CEO for 14 years in one of the companies at Brandix. So when we started off, the first 2 years were very difficult, right? Difficult because we had just only one small plant that we acquired. We didn't have any customers. We didn't have any orders. We were subcontracting in. So we had to do our budgets. So then my colleagues and I got together and did the budgets. So first 2 years, it was a loss budget. First year was a loss budget, and we delivered. Second year was a break-even budget. That also we were okay. But every year at Brandix, you have this, you go and present to the board the budget at the beginning of the year. And at the end of the year, you have to go and say, okay, whether you've met the budget or you haven't. And if you haven't, there's this famous slide that you have to put in retrospect. Okay. Now, no one in my team wants to ever go and present that in retrospect slide. Okay. Always I ended up doing that, and I hated it because 2 years I had to do it. So that's probably where we had the biggest content, because for the first 2 years we had nothing, right? It was a very small business. But one thing, we had a 3-year, we started the business with a 3-year rolling plan, a business plan. So we knew our third year was going to be good, but the first 2 years was painful, right? I had to go to my now colleague, the finance head, finance director Hasita. I had to go at that point and beg for money, right? We had to ask for money because we didn't have money anywhere, right? So now we present to the board at the end of the year in retrospect, which means what would you have done differently, a hindsight, right? So I presented it twice, and third year budget, when I presented it, again, one of the directors very subtly asked me, now Ranga, my dear Ranga, he says my dear quite a bit. I don't want to mention the name because he's still a very dear, guru of ours, right, in the board. So he said, my dear Ranga, now in the third year also, at the end of this year, are you going to come and present to me this slide again? Okay. So I said, I didn't know where to go, but I said, no, this is the last time that I presented it, and I don't think we'll ever present this slide again, because I was very confident that we had a plan behind it, and third year we were going to hit it. And thereafter, we actually lived by it, right? I said it because I was very sure of the team behind it, the plan behind it, and we lived the promise. I think it's very important in being a professional that you really honor your promises, right? So consistently, after that, I think we delivered the budget. So that was my first example, because if you're a professional team, right, you have to be able to have a plan behind it and plan behind everything, and then you have to be able to deliver it. So we did deliver. Now, the second example is linked to it. So we went on delivering. Every year we delivered the budget thereafter. And 1 year we had so many. So meanwhile, we were expanding the business quite a bit. And we had this 1 year where we had multiple expansions. We were moving to India. We had so many customers being incubated. By the way, we had put a really stretched budget that year. So that year, we could not get to the budget, right? So this is after several years of hitting the budget. Now, we knew we were not going to get there. But now at Brandix, we have this scheme. You get really rewarded if you hit the budget, right? We've got a scheme where you have what is called a variable bonus scheme. So if you hit the budget, all the executives get a few months of your salary as bonus, okay? It can go to, I think I can say that here, it can go to several months, like 6 months, 7 months. So annually, you get it. Now, this company of Brandix that I was in was used to getting this bonus for several years, year on year, okay? So this year, we could not hit the budget. Now, however, although we did not hit the budget, we still gave substantial profits to the group in that year. So the board at that time, the board had the discretion of actually deciding to give several months of bonus, despite the fact that we had not hit the budget, because we still gave some good money, right? So the board called me and said, look, we are willing to give you, your team, several months of bonus, because still, even though you did not hit the budget, you actually all delivered good profits, right? But we said, the entire leadership team said, thank you very much, but we will forego it as a team for one reason, because we believed that we promised them something as a board, as shareholders, and we could not deliver it, right? So we did not want to set the wrong precedents. And it was very painful, because it was about 350 odd executives who were going to forego the bonus that year. But we stood by our promise. Our people stood by us. Okay, I am very proud to say that not a single person left the company because we could not give the variable bonus. And today, I think that decision that we took that time as a professional business leadership team, the fact that we took that decision has led to a very different view, a culture in that organization today. And there onwards they went, so next year they actually came back pretty strong and delivered the budget, and they continue to do so even now. So I'm just telling you this because these are live examples of what becoming a professional really means, okay? Because there is no textbook to say all this. I think there are millions of examples that we can give from different walks of life, but basically this is what it is. So for me, I did not want to go into a lot of detail, but in summary, for me, it's about, becoming a professional is all about taking responsibility to do so, okay? It's your responsibility, like I said. It's a journey. Please remember, professionalism is a journey, right? You have to go step by step. Don't rush it. Please give time for yourself to absorb what you have to go through to become a professional, okay? And I would say, I would like to see all of you going through those spheres of life, because it is important that everyone, whichever career you pursue, it could be that you want to become an entrepreneur, it could be that you want to work for a big corporate, right? It could be that you go global and work away from Sri Lanka. Still, please focus on what you have to do in short sprints, but having the end goal in mind, becoming a professional. I would say I was jack of all, master of none, because if you look at my friends and between my friends and me, so I was at Visaka, as you know, we had 6 houses.
Okay.
Visaka. Of the 6 houses, on 4 of them, we were house captains. I was a
Right.
deputy house captain of one. So my best friends were house captains, and one was a head cop. So
Okay.
we had no choice but to do a lot of things in
Extracurricular.
school. Exactly. So throughout the year, if you look at, I would do debating, I would do single English drama, would play hockey, and then would go and do something else for the house, because you have no choice. When you can't collect people, then you go and do it yourself.
So,
So we had the time of our life in school, and yeah, so that was that part of it. I don't think I was ever studious. For example, I ended up in the first 10 slots always. So that's good enough for me.
how much of those extracurricular activities have really helped you to become the professional you are today?
I think most of it, Priyanka, because if you look at it, yes, the academics help you, but it's always that management skill, the ability to really organize events, right? It's about taking situational decisions. Like I said before, when a person is not there for an event, what do, right? So you go in search of somebody. So I think definitely it helps. My answer is yes. I think it is, because although I didn't go, that was because it was a situational decision. Because those days, I'm talking, what, 30 years ago, right? There were riots and all sorts of things that were going on in the country. So that's why I took a decision like that, because I didn't want to waste time. But now, ever since I have been working and recruiting people, I think I have given a lot of preference to university students, especially in Sri Lanka. Honestly, I have recruited almost all the students have been Sri Lankan
Universities.
university students, or even if it's public or private, it doesn't matter.
Matter.
But that's what we have gone for. First thing is, you have to keep doing your extracurricular work, because academics, once you go to a university, you have no choice. You will anyway automatically go there. But it's about being in teams, leading teams, taking situational decisions. All that really matter. And I think being in difficult situations, even I don't mind if people have been in rebellious situations in universities, because those are the people who take leadership usually, right? So when they come into organizations, they do very well. We have examples like that. So I'm not going to talk about academics, because that
It's a
is
given
it's a given, and it's a basic. Okay, I think everyone who enters should have some academic background,
in
because
the
that
chosen field, I
in a
suppose.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it has to be the relevant field, but it's good, because when you have it, you have a background, basic background, that we can build their career on. Beyond that, the first thing I would say is building resilience to so that I think you need to somehow bring into your life, because most of the kids who come in have been spoon fed, uh, right? And when they enter the corporate world, they want that from the superiors.
Superiors as well.
But I would say that you won't get always. Yes, you will be trained, you will be groomed, but you need that resilience to go through all of that. So you should not take quick decisions. So for that, you really need to have gone through the mill and come. That's number one, I would expect. Number two, I think a good command, influencing power, uh, because you work with people, right? You when you come, you'll work with several types of people. Age is not a not something, not a barrier, no,
At all,
nothing,
yeah.
not at all, right? So you have to work with elderly people, younger people, and you have to be able to influence. So that influencing power is extremely important, and not to force anything. It's just that you have to win their hearts somehow. So that's number two. Those you won't learn from
Academics or
exactly.
any kind of university probably won't teach you any of
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. So that's number two, resilience. And this, you said three, right?
He
wants
wanted three, but
Well, I can give a lot. The third one, probably, let me think. Third one, probably is that never give up attitude, obsession, right? Obsessive, this I want to say. Being obsessive in what you want to do, not in a bad way, but if you are not obsessed with what you really want to do, you give up. You tend to give up because you see somebody else giving up, and then you think, okay, why should you do it as well? But there has to be someone who carries it through to the end. So I would like that obsessive nature of a person, in a person. Many instances, I have gone through many instances, because most of the time in a in the team that I was in, most of the time I was the only female.
female.
It's now, and I'm so happy that there is another colleague of mine who is in the same team. It's now only that this is the first time that I got to there's a
We
female
have two.
colleague
Yeah.
with
Okay.
me. So yeah, I have got challenged many times, but I think I have been lucky to have had very people who have respected uh, the gender
Okay.
difference, right? So I have always had that luxury. I think there have been, my God, there have been several instances that I have fought like hell to get my point through, but I think it's all very official, right? It's never been personal. We fight and we somehow come to a conclusion, but I think always I have won that respect. So that person you need to be able to get, because
Earn that respect.
you have to earn it. I never, I don't, uh, well, it's like this. I mean, it's good. I was, first of all, surprised to be given that option of becoming a director. Happy, scared. So, all those feelings, emotions went through. But as I said before, the happiest was when I got another colleague who was a female, because I had to share my thoughts in such a higher position. I didn't want to be alone there. You also act like a man, right? That's it. I mean, okay. So one tip I'm going to give you. I think the men are not going to like this, but always I have seen, right? A female brings a different touch to a team. Okay, that that you can't find in males. I don't know, male dominated. Sometimes it's a situation, because uh, so you have to leverage it. You have to really take advantage of it to give back the society something. I'm saying it because if you look at the emotional side, most of the time, because we work with people, right? So we have to be able to um, relate to them, and sometimes the female has that edge. So you have to leverage, and when the men begin to understand that this is their strength, I think that's when the respect comes in. So I would say it's not difficult. I think it's about understanding whom you're working with. For me, it was never a problem to work with men. I had First of all, I did not, in my wildest dreams, think of even becoming a CEO, right? my ambition always was to do something unique. That's it, right?
Okay.
To do something different.
Right.
And I think that led me to all of this. So it's a eventuality. I think it's a result, but I never went behind a position for sure. But I don't mind because I love marketing. So I'm in that. I love working with people. So it's okay as long as I can do something for the company and the country. I have given a lot of advice to people who wanted to start MBAs way early in their career, right? So I'm saying this, I think it's not necessary, but it's a plus point for sure. Okay. Only thing is, if you do it too early, it's a waste.
Ranga,
Because
what's that too early? I think this is where the
Right.
issue is, right? In
Okay.
your after years of experience, what do you think
Yes.
is the right time to do MBA?
Okay, so an MBA is not it's not a desk degree. Okay, it's something where you have to be able to practice.
Practice it.
So you have to have a position. You have to be able to hold a position where you can go and influence and do a good project, right? Do a change in your organization, in your role. Uh, that's when you should do a master. So for me, you should be in a managerial position, a leadership position, for you to be able to do that, because otherwise it just becomes an academic exercise. So I have told this to about 50, 60 people personally, individually, I think even more, right? And I have been able to influence a lot of people to do it at the right time. Yeah, so it's not a must. Yes, experience and degree is sufficient to go, but I'm sure it helps, right? It helps if it's done at the right time. I believe you have to. I mean, if you're stretching yourself, it's okay to fail. Okay, failures make you stronger for sure, and I have had many failures in life. Okay, especially at work, I've had many pitfalls, but it depends on how fast you come back. So that's an art.
Okay.
I believe, yes, you fail, but you come out of it pretty fast. So develop that skill. I think it's important. I forgot to say that. I thought I had it in my mind. Okay. So, first thing is he's full of support. Okay. And I define support very differently because support has to be unconditional. And for me, see, whatever time I come home now, of course, I mean, we work from home quite a bit, but whatever time I come home, wherever I wanted to go, overseas trips, he was there. So always, I had a lot of support. If not, the female will find it very difficult. And I have come across a lot of, I mean, I'm still experiencing quite a few females who are finding it very difficult without
Not
that
getting that
support.
support.
Yeah. So we've even at office, we've tried to see how we can really support the female so that you cover from it's not covering from the husband, but it's just that then the pressure is lowered, right? So we do quite a few things. I mean, daycare centers, helping the females with different areas and so on, so that that pressure doesn't come on to her. But it's extremely important that she has a support system. Otherwise, you cannot go beyond the limit that's there.